Welcome back to another episode of Sports Unlimited, where we dive deep into the exhilarating world of sports. In today's episode, I'm going to give you my preseason NFL rankings. Of course, I will be doing another NFL rankings towards the beginning of the season. And of course, I'm going to redo the schedules once we know for sure who's starting, what kind of changes each team has going to go. And we'll go from there. So, prepare for an episode packed with insight, speculation, and excitement. This is Sports Unlimited, and I am thrilled to have you on board. So, let's jump right in. Alright, so yes, my postseason rankings, NFL rankings, starting with the bottom of the tier, which is number 32. As you all guessed it, the number one pick. The number 32 team, is the Carolina Panthers. So, the good thing about the Panthers is there is some sort of optimism to have here for the Panthers, okay? They have a lot of really great rookies coming around. Bryce Young has now have at least one solid season, one season under his belt. They've set up a good, solid foundation this year. For him to move forward. They've improved on offensive weapons. They've gotten better on the offensive line. They've added a new coach I believe it was Dave Canellis, who has a pretty good track record of helping quarterbacks. Name a few are Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. So the outcome looks good for for the Panthers. But, will the optimism lead to wins? That's why I put them at 32, because I don't believe so. The Panthers have to demonstrate that all this that they're doing is good enough to be on the field. Okay? The struggles from last year cannot come back this year. They must be effective, prone, and strong to be able to get through this season. Okay? They need to be consistent. They need to stay healthy. And they need to execute their game plan. So, I don't think they can do all that stuff. Hence why I have them at 32. At 31, I have the Denver Broncos. So, despite loving the decision of them drafting Bo Nix at number 12, and yes, some have questioned it, I still believe Bo Nix has a lot of potential to be able to do things in this roster. All right? Now, Bo Nix does have some developmental issues, and he has to develop a lot to be able to be the Denver's next quarterback. But it's not something that cannot be done. Okay? This is a rebuild time for the Broncos, and it's perfect. It doesn't matter how many games you win this season. Just develop Bo Nix. All right? Show him the ropes. Make a strategy, around him to develop him. All righty? Now, the question will lie at the end of the year is, will the Bo Nix option pay off in the long run? Or does it look like it's going to pay off in the long run? That's what we're going to have to wait and see. And I feel like you will if they show him how to develop well during the football season. And at number 30, I have the New York Giants. So, first and foremost, I'm going to get this out of the way. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, just to name a few, are going to be on the defensive side of the ball for the New York Giants, amongst very much a highly, highly talented defensive core. Because of that, I can tell you this much. The Giants are going to have a top 15 defense this year, with this pass rush of Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau. All right? They're very formidable players that deserve all the respect that they get. Now, especially when Shane Bowen taking over as the new defensive coordinator, I still believe that they're going to have a top 15, defense. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Why I put them at number 30. They're as talented as they are on defense. Offensively, that's where the concerns lies. Daniel Jones has shown that he can be that future, but it's never consistent enough. Is he the long-term solution? Should we go after somebody else? Alrighty? Now, the Giants have to succeed this year offensively so that the defense can perform to its full potential. Because it doesn't matter how good of a defense you have. If they're on the field for half the quarter, you're not going to last much of the game. We'll have to wait and see, but that is why I put them at number 30. All right, now for number 29, I have the New England Patriots. So, the Patriots' decision to start Jacoby Brissett over rookie Drake May, to some, it seems like, oh, that's so stupid. Why the heck did you take Drake May? But at the same time, I love it. They're letting Drake May learn, all right? They're letting him just develop. Also, they have that the second quarterback rookie out of Tennessee, Milton, and he needs to develop as well. So Jacoby Brissett was a great decision to not just completely destroy these two rookies, into the future. I love that. But, all right, the Patriots' opening stretch is going to be I think it was the main reason why they went with Jacoby Brissett over, one of these two rookies. I mean, look, think about it. You had the Bengals, okay, who are, it's a road game, so you're playing away, and they're pretty much some of the contenders in the AFC against the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. Then you have the Seahawks, who have a Mike McDonald as their new head coach, who's very defensive-minded. So that defense is going to step up. Then you have the revamped Jets, alrighty? A division game. Then you have the 49ers, again, another team that's expected to make a run at the Super Bowl. You have the Dolphins, who, again, are very much stacked. And, of course, the Texans, which is funny to say this, but everywhere I've read, said, and this is, I'm quoting here, arguably the easiest game in this stretch. Think about that. The Texans, as good as they are, they're considered easy in this stretch for these rookies. Alrighty? And it's in Houston. Alrighty? The schedule is too much for these rookies to start. I think Jacoby Brissett was a great addition, but Drake May still has to acclimate and has not done great in camp as of yet, from what I've read, everything. Milton's actually been the improvement here. Even then, their new head coach, Mayo, is a very much defensive-minded coach. So I'm questioning a lot about. I like the picks, don't get me wrong, but I just don't trust in the in the Patriots at this current moment. Hence why I have them at 29. At 28, I have the Washington Commanders. Okay, the Commanders' offseason moves have been amazing. Alrighty, they got Frank Lovu, all right, a linebacker has had solid play. Tyler Biadasz from the Cowboys, again, one of the best centers that so far. Dorrance Armstrong, to get in there. Defensively, they got in Bobby Wagner, amongst other. Plus, they have a lot of first-round talent in that defensive line. Alrighty. Plus, you still have the offensive weapons there. Alrighty. New head coach, very much knows how to get a good. Dan Quinn really knows how to work that defense and how to develop it. But they went great in the offense by getting Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator and then going and drafting Jaden Daniels at number 2 overall. Alrighty, which was a game changer for them. So I think they're developing great. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, if they did all this, why do you have them so low? Well, simply the fact is, this is a brand new, even though Dan Quinn has previous experience as a head coach, he's still a new head coach in this program, in this organization. He has a rookie quarterback who, although is doing great per camp reports, but still brand new. And all these other new pieces that need to start meshing again. So at the end of the day, yes, they have everything to have a great season. They just got to put it all together. And Jaden Daniels has to prove that he's the future of the Washington Commanders. But with the combination of Cliff Kingsbury, a great defense, and a great offensive line now with weapons, I have no doubt that will happen. And my mid-season rankings will more than likely reflect them going up at least to the top 15 and then maybe in the top 10 by the end of the season. But you have to give them the credit that they're still, they still have to develop him. At 27, I have the Tennessee Titans. So the Tennessee Titans went out and got Tony Pollard to complement Tajay Spears. Okay. Tony Pollard got a nice contract. They got a new head coach in Brian Callahan, who's flexible, but there's still questions there. Alrighty. Now, and I do love the fact that they know how to use both of them. Okay? But the question is, are they going to rotate him? Are they going to use the hot hand approach? Are they going to drive bases? No. Is it going to be like fantasy football where, they're going to share the time and, what is the versatility of the Titans offense? That's what's happening here. There's a lot of questions here moving forward, and you're just going to have to wait and see what happens. At 26, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I would prefer that the Raiders have a solid quarterback situation, which they do not. Okay? They do not. Now, even with that, though, the Raiders have done some great things in the offseason. Okay? They've added another piece next to Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. That adds to a strong defensive line for the Raiders, which will allow Max Crosby to open up and potentially even finally going out and get a Defensive Player of the Year award, which he highly deserves. No, the question now is, who is going to be at quarterback, Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell? Now, Gardner Minshew, per reports, has taken the lead in camp, but not by much. That's still to say that Aiden O'Connell does not have a chance to take it, and he's played very well when he's had the chance. The question lies is, can he continue it? At 25, I have the Arizona Cardinals. So, one reason I'm excited about the Cardinals is Kyler Murray is finally supposedly healthy. Alrighty? And he's finally kind of grown up and not played Call of Duty. Alright? Now, why else am I happy? Who did they take in this year's draft? Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the most electric wide receivers and arguably the number one player in this year's draft or last year's draft or whatever, however you want to say it. Alrighty, they finally have a true number one wide receiver, in my opinion. That's someone that even when Kyler Murray decides to not play well, he can still go out and do what he needs to do. He's basically what what's his name? Cardinals wide receiver. I'm blanking on the name, but Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald was when he was playing a solid weapon, and because of that, I'm very happy for them. But they still have to mesh. They still have some new. No, he still has to learn the ropes as being a number one wide receiver in the NFL. And Kyler Murray has to prove himself. That's why I have him at 25. At 24, I have the New Orleans Saints. So the Saints didn't suffer many losses in offseason as we thought. And they did strengthen their defense by adding people like Chase Young and Willie Gay. I love that. No, they bolstered the offensive line in the draft and snagged some very good players with Kool-Aid McKinstry in the second round, which arguably I thought he was going to go in the first round because a lot of people in the bottom of the first round needed cornerbacks, and to take him in the second round was freaking amazing. However, the question remains here that the offensive line did not get better. They also have issues with the receiving core, which is arguably one of the worst, and the division rival Falcons, having made so many upgrades and are way higher on my list than this, can they compare to them? Because right now the Saints really are the only team that can outpost the Saints in the NFC South. But with the way it's looking, with a very bad offensive line, a very dim receiving core, I don't see that happening. Hence why I have them at 24. At 23, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. So the Chargers selecting Lat McConkey in the second round was the best thing ever. I love Lat McConkey out of Georgia. He was great. He has the ability to cut and break out in right at the top of the route. He knows how to separate. I can see why they took him. I thought that he was going to go at the late to the Chiefs in the with the 32nd pick. That didn't happen. So taking him in the second round was arguably the best thing ever. I also firmly believe that McConkey will add a stake to the Chargers' offensive weapons. So I really like him. Between him and Justin Herbert is going to be a great match. At 22, I have the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings were weird here in that draft. Yeah, we will all agree with it. Taking a trade up to get J.J. McCarthy when they probably could have got him late in the rounds. Then they moved up again to take Dallas Turner, who again probably would have been still there later in the rounds. So that really didn't make sense, but made sense. But we get why they did it. Alrighty. Now, per reports from Cap, J.J. McCarthy is like third on their roster, but per what everybody's saying, that was the original plan. On the other side, though, Dallas Turner has turned some heads and have said, yes, does he still need development? Of course, but he's actually getting shit done in camp. But landing both of these players was the perfect thing for the Minnesota Vikings. But you're asking me, well, you gave him all this praise. Why are they 22? Well, exactly that. They still need to learn. J.J. McCarthy is by far nowhere near being the starter for the Vikings. And the Vikings know that. So what are they going to do? They're saying, your ass needs to sit your ass down, shut up. I don't give a crap about your freaking national titles or who you played for. Now you're in the NFL. You shut up, you learn, and you become our future. Dallas Turner, you're doing a lot better now as time goes on. We're going to start you in the lineup or in the rotation, and we want you to be our next defensive player of the year. You see, that's all it is. At 21, I have the Indianapolis Colts. So, on paper, the Colts look promising. Okay? And that's good. Alrighty? General manager Chris Ballard has just done one of the great solid jobs that you could ask for as a GM. All right, I can't ask for a more solid GM and position that he's done. All right, the question here is Anthony Richardson built now healthy to show those flashes of that he showed during his rookie season before he got hurt? All right, the team has a lot of potential, and everyone is honestly very high on the health of Richardson and of his performance. All right, but if the struggles of injuries come back to the Colts, do not be surprised if the Colts are mediocre once again. Again, the only reason we're putting them at 21 is because the health bug is always hitting them. They have all the talent. No, Chris Ballard did a great job as a general manager to bring in people and to draft people. But if that means nothing if they cannot freaking stay healthy. And at number 20, I have the Seattle Seahawks. So, right tackle Abraham Lucas looks to be almost 100% after his knee surgery. So it's still troublesome. Alrighty? His recovery is slow, but it's coming. Alrighty? The offensive line has already had many concerns. So with right tackle Abraham Lucas really basically out for a hot minute, can they fix it? Look, Geno Smith did great last season. He has to prove himself again this season. Their new head coach arguably is a very much defensive-minded coach that knows that wants to increase the defense. Mike McDonald has said that the defense is what he wants to focus on. Alrighty? So, that means that the offense is going to be left to the offensive coordinator. Can they really fix that? That's what we'll have to wait and see. And might be the reason why the Seattle Seahawks aren't as good as they should be. At number 19, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did a lot of great things this offseason. They re-signed Baker Mayfield, Antoine Winfield, Mike Evans, and Levante David. They also readdressed their offensive line needs through the draft with their first round pick. So, overall, this arguably is one of the most solid offseasons since when they went and got Tom Brady. However, there is still a lot of challenges, and mainly the same challenge that the Saints face. Okay, the Falcons have improved substantially from last year to this year, and the Bucs do have some struggles to keep up with, especially with Baker Mayfield and how is he going to regress? Is he going to be better? Who knows? So if Baker Mayfield does not regress, I can see this being a great season for the Bucs and potentially being the only true people that can dethrone the Falcons for the NFC South and could be a dark horse in the playoffs. But if Baker Mayfield does decide to regress, and I'm saying decide, but I mean if it happens, yeah, the Bucs are pretty much done. I'm gonna give them maybe 7 wins if they're lucky. I mean, it's gonna have to be a wait and see thing. At number 18, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. So this was a very hard thing to do in putting them at 18 because I have half of my research saying they're going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Then I have another half saying, well, they did add Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis to boost the receiving core. The offensive line is kind of better. And I mean, the pass rush got Eric Armstead, but they could be. That's basically what I'm saying. But for me, it's like I'm convinced yet not convinced that it was a true upgrade or it was just there. And that's what I'm saying. It was hard because technically, did they improve? Yeah, a little bit. But it didn't improve enough to say, hey, they're in the top 15 or the top 10. That's where it lies. So I just kind of flipped the coin and said number 18. At number 17, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers have upgraded their quarterback situation per se. Signing Russell Wilson and then going and trading for Justin Fields was arguably a good decision on the Steelers' part. Russell Wilson has a veteran talent and a Super Bowl ring. Justin Fields is very much talented and has proved that in training and has a good future ahead of him, but just doesn't have the veteran talent that Russell Wilson has. Alrighty? Now, I do like the Pittsburgh Steelers taking that challenge, alrighty, and taking that that situation because you don't know what's going to happen. But it is a positive note, alrighty, to me. Another positive note is they had a great draft. They had some solid pick in Roman Wilson in the 3rd round, amongst others. And I feel like the Steelers are there to be able to, really maybe not challenge in the AFC right now, but have the potential to evolve and be a potential contender within the next 3 to 4 years, depending on whether they stick with Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. But in the long term, I feel like they are going to be a threat like they've been in the past. At number 16, I have the Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams, I think, had arguably one of the best seasons last year when it came to just being very injured and still trying to make a run at the end. Alrighty, and I think they capitalized on that into the offseason because they had solid free agent acquisitions. Now the downside to all this is that yes, Aaron Donald decided to retire. So how are they going to be able to come back from that? Well, they decided to replace him with draft picks. With 2 of their draft picks this year being defensive linemen and pass rushers. They took the guy from Florida State, which again, my mind's blanking on his name. Alrighty, now you will never be able to truly replace a 3-time defensive player of the year, Hall of Famer Aaron Donald. But you sure as hell can try with some of this talent that they got in the draft. And that's why it's good. They really bolster that roster. Now, here's on the other side. The injury bug has already started for them. Puka Nacua is hurt again. Now, it is reported that his injury is kind of day-to-day and not really something that's going to affect him. So we may not see him in the preseason. But is it something that's going to play him into the regular season? We'll have to wait and see. Now Cooper Kupp is back and healthy, so that is good. But I would personally love to see Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp out on the field at the same time, because that could be a real danger for the NFC. At number 50, I have the Chicago Bears. So I'm sitting here questioning a lot about the Bears. Everybody knows I am not a big Caleb Williams fan. I firmly believe that he's overhyped, and although talented, is not ready. He's gonna get wrecked in the NFL. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna win the NFC North." Other people are saying, "Well, he's talented. I think they're there. They've built around him, but I don't think it's gonna translate because he's still a rookie." And it comes with growing pains. Okay. See the problem here? Everybody is questioning the situation. I will not sit here and lie that, yes, they did great to build around him. And I think he has a great offensive weapons in not DJ Moore. It is DJ Moore. When they just signed him, they got Keenan Williams, the wide receiver, Roman Andunce. No, is it? Yeah. No, the wide receiver out of Washington. So a great offensive line, some great weapons, and a solid defense. So everything is there. But can it all come together and actually do well? That's a question. At number 14, I have the Atlanta Falcons. So we know what happened last year. Alrighty? They had a lack of quarterback performance, which really was the main reason why they missed the playoffs. Because they could have really taken the NFC South, and made maybe into the first round of the playoffs, but just the quarterback was horrible. So what did they do? They went out and got Kirk Cousins in the offseason, plus drafted a quarterback for the future. Okay. They've improved on the offense and on the defense. Alrighty, so I'm very much optimistic in this Atlanta Falcons team. The question lies, the other question here is, how bad did the rest of the NFC South get? Well, I just talked about the Saints, how they have nobody really. We talked about the real quarterback situation for the Vikings. That's just kind of where they're at on that. And I think at the end of the day, they're gonna be the sole favorites to win the NFC South if everything meshes the way they need to be. If Kirk Cousins plays like Kirk Cousins does, you're going to see a resurgence of Bijan Robinson, London, and their tight end, which, again, I don't know why I'm blanking on names today. Really research their careers. At number 13, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. So you guys are all probably going to kind of come at me saying, well, they're better than that. Yeah, you're right. They did get better. I mean, Chase Brown has been arguably one of the most exciting early names in training camp that I've heard so far, because I heard it from everybody. He's taking over for the trade after Joe Mix. So, great. They also got Zach Moss, who did great with the Colts. So I think they did great to try to replace Joe Mix. Now, here's the question though: is Joe Burrow healthy? What are they going to do about money for their wide receiver core? Because one is playing on a franchise tag and the other one is about to get paid. Can all that be set aside to make a run and really threaten the Chiefs? That's why they're at 13. There's too much money talk to not pressure these players to be like, well, I kind of want my money, so I better ball out. But if I ball out and I get hurt, I'm not gonna get paid. And Brown and Moss really replace Joe Mixon and all this stuff, and there's just too much whispers, and that's why I had to put them at 13. At number 12, I have the Cleveland Browns. So again, everybody in the comments has always has tried to kill me about the Browns. All right? Deshaun Watson has the talent, but he struggled even in practice. Alrighty? Their roster has poised to challenge some of the was created to challenge some of the best teams in the AFC, and they could potentially even win the AFC North over the Ravens. But Deshaun Watson is their Achilles heel. They went out and even got Jerry Jeudy, and Nick Chubb is healthier than ever. I mean, did you see that Instagram post that he did of him squatting like 1 billion pounds? He's freaking ready to go. But is Deshaun Watson going to hold them back? I firmly believe so. I firmly believe Deshaun Watson is going to hold back this great team that could potentially make the playoffs and even be a threat in the playoffs, because the quarterback position is a purgatory of hell in the Browns organization. At number 11, I have the New York Jets. So the Jets are weird. Alrighty? They're exciting. They've improved. But then you got Aaron Rodgers coming off of an Achilles injury, acting like a freaking 21-year-old. You know, you got Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, who have history of injuries. No, you got Mike Williams, who's returning from an ACL tear, who's, well, should be healthier, but, you know, ACL tears are a very weird injury that could resurface or reflare up throughout the season, depending on what he's doing. Then you got Hanson Riddick, who has decided that, hey, I want a new contract, so I'm not going to, you know, I'm just not going to show up, and is holding out, and should have been the strength of the defense and their pass rush. And, you know, there's just a lot of freaking setbacks. On paper, they've improved. Tyron Smith is a 5-time Pro Bowler and an All-Pro with the Dallas Cowboys. That left position couldn't get better. Morgan Moses is a great offensive lineman. Hanson Riddick is arguably one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. I mean, we saw what he did with the Eagles. But they're not healthy. Can they stay healthy? Is Aaron Rodgers a 4-time MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winner? Can't he get his head out of his ass and be what they need him to be? That's where we're at. I have to give him a number 11 because the talent is there. Everything the Jets needed to do to be good, they did it. But I can't put them anything higher than 11 because they don't know if they're going to be healthy enough. And I can't put them any lower than 15 because they actually do have a lot of great veteran talent in their roster and are, on paper, a playoff dark horse. And now for my top 10. At number 10, I have the Miami Dolphins. So, Tua Tagovailoa got a very expensive deal, a 4-year, $212.5 million contract, placing him at top of the quarterbacks in the leagues. With the top quarterbacks in the leagues. Okay? He's averaging salary of over $53 million per year, and, you know, it is what it is. The Dolphins did win out and got stacked on the offensive line, defensively, and offensively. So, again, like the Jets, are they better on paper? Well, yeah. They're way better than the Jets on paper, and, you know, that's why they're at number 10. But can I put them higher than that? No, I couldn't, because I don't trust Tua Tagovailoa. Everybody knows that they can't trust Tua Tagovailoa, yet he still got paid $212.5 million for 4 years. They have the Super Bowl team. The quarterback is what we're all questioning. Do the Dolphins believe in him? Some say yes, some say no. That is why he's at number 10 for me, because I question it too. But on paper, I have to give him the credit the team deserves. At number 9, I have my Dallas Cowboys. You guys are going to grill me for this. You're saying that, well, I'm just a Cowboy fan, and that's why I put him at number 9. No, let me give you the facts. Which teams Which Cowboys team last year, who did we lose this year? I'm sorry, that really matter outside of Tyrone Smith? I'll wait. So, Tyrone Smith, oh, you're going to say Tyler Biadasz, but he's great, just not the best. Alrighty? So, you're telling me that everybody else, we lost a bunch of people. No. You see? That's why I'm saying quiet, guys. The Dallas Cowboys are the same basic team that they were a year ago, outside of a few different players. On top of that, the Cowboys also used their first 3 draft picks on offensive linemen, and they went out and re-signed Ezekiel Elliott, who is very comfortable with the current offensive scheme. Alrighty? Now, because of that, because they're basically the same thing that they were last year, and under Mike McCarthy, they've had 10-plus win season the last 4 years, it is hard for me to sit here and say that they're not going to have that this year. Alrighty? This is also the same offense that finished first in points per drive last season and ranked second over the past 3 years. Okay? Again, guys, the numbers are there. The team is there. Now, am I going to be realistic? Yes, they are not going to win the NFC East. That's going to be the Eagles. The Eagles have arguably gotten way better. Alrighty. Now, do I still firmly believe that the Dallas Cowboys are going to split the series with the Eagles like they do almost every year? Yes. Are they going to lose some very close games? Yes. Are they going to give us a rush of success at the beginning of the season, going to the bye week, and then flunk it up all the way to the end of the season? Yes. But do not get it twisted. This is still the same core team that can win 10-plus games. Alrighty? The team is there, but do not get it twisted. I'm just a realistic sports fan, and I know for a fact that they are not going to be any threat in the NFC unless magically everybody else's all their starters are out for the season. Then yes, the Cowboys are going to be the favorites to take it all. But unless that happens, sorry, Cowboys fans, as a Cowboy fan myself, let's be realistic. They're probably going to win 10 games like they have the last few years. But that's about as most exciting thing as we should get as Cowboys fans. And that's not even me getting into the contract situation with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. At number 8, we have the Green Bay Packers. So, by replacing Aaron Jones with Josh Jacobs was arguably kind of a lateral move, but like it was like this, and then they went like this. To me, Josh Jacobs is a much better running back than Aaron Jones, especially when it comes to opening up the pass game. Right? He's very good at running down the middle, but he can also run down the middle, get to the outside, and catch and do a pitch and catch. So I like this move, even though, yes, you're right, it's more of a lateral move. But they also went out and bolstered their defense by signing Xavier McKinney in free agency, plus taking 2 defensive players in the first 3 picks of the draft. On top of that, Jordan Love got signed. So overall, I see the Green Bay Packers in an upward trajectory. The question is, can everything mesh and they can put it together to make a run? That's where it's going to lie. Plus, they still have the Lions, who have done great in this offseason. I'll talk about it in a little bit, as their real Achilles heel. At number 7, I have the Texans. So, the Texans signed defensive lineman Denico Autry to a 2-year, $20 million contract. Okay? And now he's suspended for 6 games due to, I think it was PED. Alrighty? So, yes, does that leave the Texans weaker on the defensive line? Yes. But I feel like, even though it's not an ideal situation, the Texans plan for something like this to happen because they still have a pretty solid backups, maybe not up to Autry's standards, but enough to maybe do a good solid rotation that will allow them to still be formidable. Plus, CJ Stroud now has his second year in the NFL, can be more solid. They've improved their wide receiving room with the trade for wow, why am I blinking on names today? No, with the trade from the Bills to the Bills, and just overall, I feel like they've done everything right. The question now here is that why don't I have him higher and I have him at number 7? The sophomore slump. Well, CJ Stroud have that, and if he does, can he overcome it? That's where we're at in that situation. If they can, I think the Texans are going to be one of the few teams they can have multiple 1,000-yard receiving players in there. But if he doesn't get over that sophomore slump, there's going to be issues. At number 6, I have the Buffalo Bills. Stephon Diggs. Oh my God, why am I always blanking on names today? Jesus Christ. So, at number 6, I have the Buffalo Bills. So, again, they went ahead and said, we live Diggs, but it's time to take him away. And I think that drama was good for them. Okay? They don't have a lot of offensive weapons. No, James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, and Curtis Samuels are solid players and have proven that they can be, trusted, but they're not a number one weapon. Alrighty? Now, they did went out and got Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Marquise Vandell-Scantling. So, I don't see a number one wide receiver here, but they're weapons. And I think with Josh Allen being as good as he is, spreading the ball out more might be the healthy option for them. Now, are they going to be in decline? Maybe. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, though. At number 5, I have the Eagles. So, everyone had the Eagles ranked very high. Alrighty? Adding Kellen Mond and Vic Fangio to the coaching staff is promising. But I still have a lot of concerns about how they're going to scheme everything and how they're going to implement it. Saquon Barkley is there, a running back. They can run down the blocks or catch from the outside. They have solid wide receivers here. A solid wide receiver group. A defense that's a little bit questionable, but still pretty solid. But now, and it's very veteran heavy. But of course, the issue last year was a lack of talent. So, did they truly solve the problem, or they didn't? Because they lost people like Jason Kelce to the offensive line. Their quarterback is a little bit of a question here for most of us. And at the end of the day, we sit here and say, well, technically, yeah, they did get better. I mean, I do like Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio and the coaching staff. They can do a lot. But is it going to be worth it? That's what we're going to wait and see. Lucky for them, you got the Giants, who aren't a threat in the NFC East. You got the Commanders, who are basically on a new head coach, rookie quarterback, and new talent who could be really good or be really bad at the same time. And of course, you have the Cowboys, who are their only real threat to the division, who every year they split the games, 1-1, but there can still be a threat in the playoffs. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. I think they're still going to be really good. They're my favorites to win in the NFC East. But will they make a run, or do they have the team to make a run? I don't think so. At number 4, I have the Baltimore Ravens. So the Ravens went out and revamped their offensive line. Alrighty? They got younger players to replace some of the older players and really invested heavy on trying to open things up for Lamar Jackson. Okay? The new adjustments that they do were exactly what they needed. And yes, you're going to tell me, well, they lost Mike McDonald, their defensive coordinator. That's okay. I feel like who they hired is actually an okay option. You still have Todd Monken, Monken, as their offensive coordinator. They got Derrick Henry in there. And even he stated, we believe these guys can play. We just need to let them do their thing, and they'll keep developing an improvement. It's just about getting things ready. Now, are they the number one threat to the Chiefs? Yes. Will they actually be a threat to the Chiefs? No. Sorry. Alrighty? The Chiefs are too good right now to be a threat. But don't be surprised if the Ravens make it a hell of an AFC Championship game. Do not be surprised. At number 3, we have the San Francisco 49ers. So, the 49ers lost Arik Armstead and Chase Young in free agency. Then, they brought in Leonard Floyd and made some other additions to the defensive line, not up to the standards of the players that they lost. Then you have the issue with Brandon Ayuk, who did show up to camp and is practicing, but still has the contract issue. You went out in the draft and drafted some wide receivers in the first and fourth round, amongst other players. And then you still have the question of Brock Purdy. Is he really the future, or is he just being lucky with the scheme? You still have Christian McCaffrey, though, amongst other great players and a great coach. But there's just too many questions. Are they the favorites in their division? Yes. Are they the threat in the NFC? Yes. There'll always be that. They still have some of the best talent in there. But do not be surprised if this is a fall from grace for the 49ers. I do not see them continuing their run as they have the last few years. And I firmly believe that their downfall is coming sooner rather than later. At number 2, I have everybody's favorite in the Detroit Lions. So, the main thing that I saw was they were good last year. How do they get better? They had an elite offensive line, solid weapons, stable quarterback situation, and a defense that was just solid. So, that was last year. How do they get better? Oh, and their coaching staff remained pretty much together. Well, they went out and just got depth. That's all they did. They said, hey, I like my starters, but I want to rest them, and let me get somebody that's almost to their level, but will allow us to do different schemes, different things to do. Now, can they handle the expectations and the pressure of being the team that almost made it to the Super Bowl, that finally took down that curse and finally said, hey, we are going to get back there. We're going to win the division. We're going to make it to the NFC Championship again. And next time we're going to make it to the Super Bowl, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. It's about, can they manage expectations and pressure are being arguably one of the best stories in the NFL last year and translating to future and future success. And I think they can do that. That's why I have them at number 2. And of course, at number 1, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. So, they retained Chris Jones, Drew Tranquill, traded away L'Jarius Sneed, and really brought in valuable people like Marquise Brown and Xavier Worthy, with the number 28th overall pick. And it was really overall a great offseason and real connection, real moves for the Kansas City Chiefs. And although there has been particularly they haven't had particularly a deep offensive threat lately. Now they have that with Marquise Brown. Alrighty? And yes, sometimes we would say Patrick Mahomes has had the less than lack quarterback play or less inconsistent quarterback play. I still think though they're still really good. Okay? I don't believe that even inconsistent quarterback play or a lack of wide receivers was ever an issue for the Chiefs, even though that was something that we talked about. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce at the helm, with Andy Reid, they're going to be our number 1s. It's just the truth. Well, guys, that is all the time that we have for today. thank you so much for joining us. And I do hope that you guys enjoy my preseason NFL rankings. As always, let me know what you guys think. Again, as always, guys, let's be serious. These are just the preseason. No, they really don't mean much, but we always do them. No, but still, let's talk about it. Of course, thank you for joining us on this journey of speculations, analysis, and excitement. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback is invaluable as we continue to bring you the latest and greatest in sports. As always, guys, this is Hershey signing off from Sports Unlimited. Until next time, sports fan, stay passionate, and see you next time. Bye-bye.